Can you use a GoPro as a YouTube studio camera without any lighting? Let's find out. First of all, let me show you the gear stuff that you will need. The first item is some sort of a diffusion material, and I'm going to use this thing. This is a bed sheet, a white, simple bed sheet. You can use bed sheets, you can use t-shirts, you can use towels, you can use anything white and thick enough to diffuse a light from a window, or if you want to spend the money, you can also buy a special diffusion fabric from like AliExpress or Amazon. Links would be down below. The next item is not really necessary, but I highly recommend it, and that's a 5-in-1 reflector to reflect light from the window back to you to use as a fill light, or if you want to block lights, you can use it as a negative fill to add a little bit of contrast to your face and so on. And if you don't want to buy a 5-in-1 reflector, maybe it's expensive for you, you can use something like this. I'm using it a lot, a white foam board, just like so, to reflect light, and you can also spray paint it in black to use as a negative fill to add a little bit more contrast to your face. And obviously, the last thing that you will need is some sort of a stand, a light stand, a tripod to hold the foam board or the 5-in-1 reflector. And that's pretty much it when it comes to gear. Now let me show you briefly the GoPro settings that I'm going to use. GoPro Touch is horrible, as always. Resolution and frame rate, I'm gonna use 4K 24 frames per second. Let me know down below if you prefer 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. I choose 24 because I prefer 24, but there isn't really a better setting. It's a matter of personal preference. Next thing, lens, I'm gonna choose linear field of view because I don't want to have the wide field of view of a GoPro action camera. Hyper smooth is going to be off because the camera is going to be on a tripod. This next setting is not really relevant. Bitrate, I'm gonna choose high for the best image quality possible. Shutter speed is going to be double the frame rate, so in my case, I'm shooting in 24 frames per second, so the shutter speed is going to be 1/48. If you're shooting in 30 frames per second, put it to 1/60, and so on and so forth. White balance you will have to adjust manually to get the most accurate colors. At the moment mine is set to 4000 Kelvin, but I will have to play around with it later on to see which one looks the most accurate. So what I would recommend, to put the GoPro on a tripod, adjust the composition, everything, and then play around with the white balance numbers to see which one looks the most accurate to what you're seeing with your own eyes. ISO minimum, maximum, again, this is personal preference. You will have to look at the screen and adjust the ISO minimum and ISO maximum, but make sure to lock the exposure so the exposure won't go up and down and up and down. Start with 100 ISO because the lower the ISO, the better the image quality, and then move up and up and up until you get the right amount of ISO exposure. Lastly, sharpness on the GoPro HERO9. I recommend to set it to low because the image is too sharp in personal opinion. If you have an older GoPro, set it to medium. Never set it too high because it looks too sharp. So on my GoPro HERO9 Black, I'm setting it to low. Then the color is also personal preference. I don't really like color grading that much, so I set mine to GoPro, but you can set to flat, and then in post-production, color grade your footage. Okay, so now let's start adjusting all the stuff that I showed you before. I'm gonna start by adding a diffusion to this huge window, which I'm going to use as my main key light, my main light source. And like I said, you can use pretty much anything you want to diffuse the light from your window. I'm going to use a bed sheet. You can use towels, t-shirts, or you can buy a diffusion fabric. You can do whatever you want as long as it's going to diffuse the light from your window. So let's do that. Okay, so as you can see right now, the light is much softer from the window. And actually, I think I'm gonna add another layer of diffusion to make it even softer. I'm just going to add another bed sheet to make the light even softer. All right, I'm done with diffusing the light, and now I'm going to adjust my camera and my position. So this is my GoPro HERO9 Black on a simple tripod, and I'm gonna place it really close to the light source, and also I'm going to position myself really close to the light source. Why is that? Because the closer you are to the light source, the softer the light is going to spread on your face, and the more beautiful it's going to look and more complementing. I'm also going to add this beautiful plant with this desk thing just to add a little bit more interest in the background. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with adjusting my camera, and now I'm going to add this foam board to act as a fill light and also play around with this 5-in-1 reflector to see how it looks with the negative field and how it looks with the reflector itself. Okay, so now that everything is set, my lighting, my GoPro position, my on position, the background, let me switch to the GoPro HERO9 Black footage and see how everything looks together. So I'm gonna switch to the GoPro in 3, 2, 1. And right now I'm filming with the GoPro HERO9 Black. What do you think? How does this footage looks like? Let me know down below. I think it looks pretty decent enough, especially that I'm not using any artificial lighting, just lights from my window with some diffusion from my bed sheets. And also here on the left side I have my white foam board to act as a fill light, and that's pretty much it. Let me actually show you the difference this white foam board makes. So I'm going to remove it. This is without the fill light, and it looks okay. As you can see, this side of my face is now a little bit darker, and it's totally fine. But sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of fill light to make the subject evenly lit. As you can see right now, I am totally evenly lit. It's personal preference. You don't have to use this thing. That's why I said it's not really necessary, but it can be useful in some cases. If you're gonna have the 5-in-1 reflector, the reflection is gonna be even stronger, so you're gonna have even more light on your side of the face. So let me show you. As you can see, right now I have more light than just with the foam board. Okay, and you can also flip it around to the black side to basically eliminate light, to make this side of your face a little bit darker, if that's the look that you're going for. See? Whoa. So right now, this side of my face is really dark, as you can see, and with the white foam board, it's not. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Always remember to diffuse your light and be as close as possible to the light source to make it as soft and as pleasing as possible. Thanks for watching. I hope you find this video informative and useful, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.